Hey guys, this is a market update. Bitcoin pumping over the last day or so, Ethereum pumping as well. We have Ethereum ETF news, which is good. So a futures ETF is going to be allowed in the States for trading. That means Bitcoin and ETH now have those futures ETFs. For me, that is the precursor to the spot ETFs. It's just a matter of time that happens, and it will happen. And I think the market understands that now. What we're going through right now is a test of some selling and some resistance. So we've had some very good, neutral to positive price action here. You can see this support level, right? So we have a sell-off, and then we have this chop, and we're actually grinding up higher. This is good news. However, we're still in this kind of sell-off from the all-time high this year, or the yearly high. So we have a sell-off and weakness and some profit taking here. For me, this is on the weekly chart. We haven't really broken through this yet. So this is, decent price action. But what I would be trading here for a short term, if we go down to like the 1 day or the 4 hour, is actually something like this, which is probably a breakout to the 28 level right here. We haven't really broken out, right? We've tested it, but we're not breaking out as yet. If we break out from this, maybe we go out to the 28 level. The reason why I say 28, which is this line right here, is this. This is the long-term Bitcoin chart. You can see right here, this blue moving average. I'm actually going to change it to a different color. This is the 200 period moving average. 200 periods is important. This is the 200 week moving average. You can see that right here. And we are underneath it now. You can see that we're underneath it. We had a test above it. We kind of broken underneath it again. So, we're going to have to break this. That's obviously the uptrend there. And we might get some resistance. So we might actually test it to 28. So if you're a short-term trader, that's what I'd be looking at. But for this year, we're not breaking 32 unless the macro changes and the Fed changes, which the market may be starting to try to sniff out now because of some of the economic data that is going on. So we're going to get through that right now. If you are a trader, though, check out the deposit bonus to Bybit in the description. Make a deposit and trade on there. You can get up to 30,000 deposit bonus. I know a lot of people in the UK saying Bybit are leaving the UK. You can check out BitGet. They still have good fiat on-ramps. If you just want to trade, check out Apex. This is Bybit's on-chain exchange. So just send your crypto to your MetaMask wallet, trade on there. It takes like 2 seconds. It's really easy. I'll leave links below and tutorials below as well. I believe in the Bitcoin cycle. I believe in the economic cycle. I also believe they are one and the same thing. Bitcoin is world money, and so it is the economic cycle. What we're seeing is the US government and other governments who are dead broke, having to borrow more and more and more money just to pay back the interest on what they need to pay back now. The long and short of it is that eventually this is going to crater growth. No one can borrow, spreads are wide. The US economy looks very robust, and it always is the most robust economy out of all of these. But still, it's broke and it can't do anything than just dump all of these treasuries on the market, making pain for everyone else. So what is going to happen here eventually is going to be 3 months, 6 months, 8 months. It doesn't really matter. The timing is irrelevant. They have to cap these yields at some point. Otherwise, it just gets into a debt spiral. So what is going to happen here? Eventually, you'll see the numbers starting to come out. It has to happen. They can't let this just carry on and refinance all of their debt that they had at 0%, now up at 5 or 6%. Cannot happen. So eventually, the government steps in. That might take, let's say, 6, 7, 8 months, which just so happens to be around the time of the Bitcoin halving, 6, 7, 8 months, when you would be looking at us trying to break through that 32, 33 level, as we have done every other time. I believe in the cycle. I believe in the macro cycle. I believe in the refi cycle. Governments, especially the states, they can't refinance all of their debt at 5, 6, 7%. It's going to be a lot of pain. And so, look, we might have to go through pain first, but it's inevitable. They simply cannot keep rates up here without a massive slowdown in the economy. And when the slowdown happens, then they have to change the policy again. That's how I think. Now, you're saying, hey, the stock market's doing really well this year. So what's going on? Isn't there going to be another crash? The stock market isn't doing well, okay? 7 stocks are doing well. Bitcoin, ETH are doing very well because they price in the future way more. If you're looking at the total return of the S&P, right, it's way under the average return if you're looking at this being the start of a new market phase. Is this really a bull market? It's certainly testing patience. 23% rally remains well below average. in terms of the typical recovery slope from a bear market low. Interest rates are high and the real economy is not doing well. Slow growth, lower GDP, less tax receipts, deficits are wider. Interest rates keep going up. You think interest rates going up are bad for Bitcoin? Ask Argentina and Venezuela how their 100+% interest rates are doing with their currency versus Bitcoin. So it's Bitcoin versus governments. My money is on Bitcoin because those governments are dead broke. In terms of ETFs, as you can see here, the SEC has delayed all of these. I don't think we're going to get anything this year. I think it's going to be next year. I think the Democrats are going to use a Bitcoin ETF approval as election fodder. That's just my base case, but these are coming at some point. So it's a matter of when, and that's absolutely fine for me. Now, interesting here, you can see if the SEC allowing ETH futures ETFs to launch have to assume forcing closure or delisting of BTC futures is off the table. That's important because Grayscale won their case against the SEC. So the turnout for me is they've allowed Bitcoin futures, they've allowed ETH futures, they're probably going to allow a Bitcoin spot, and that eventually leads into an Ethereum spot. So those two assets are becoming institutionalized, which I think is pretty important if you're an investor in these. We can also see here that a senior Bloomberg analyst reports that there is chatter suggesting that the SEC has taken an unusual step by reaching out to issuers of spot Bitcoin ETFs. This development is being viewed as good news and is seen as a positive sign. I think the writing is on the wall. Bitcoin spot ETF is going to happen. Ethereum spot ETF is going to happen eventually. So just put it to the back of your mind. It doesn't matter. It's not going to change things a lot. What we really want is, over time, to invest in the best assets, strong assets that are positive, growing in user numbers. That's really what we want. The ETF news, don't try and trade it. Just try and invest in these assets during this time before the next part of the cycle. Both Bitcoin and ETH are showing positive signs right now, but they're both moving from lower levels, right? So you look at Bitcoin's support level right here at 25, it's moving into that resistance. So fairly positive, but still not a breakout. Now, traders may try and trade that breakout, of course, and take risk now for that breakout. With Ethereum, you're seeing this lower trend line, which is definitely making higher lows over time. Again, just trying to bounce off of this a little bit, but also coming into resistance. So both still not have broken out of resistance, and traders are either going to take risk here and risk another rejection, or they're going to actually go in here and then benefit from a little breakout of both of these resistances. I think the ETFs are great, but they're way overshadowed by economic news, right? And we could still have another 6 months of basically the Fed saying we're not going to step in, right? And so there's a lot of chop left, in my opinion, before that real bull market. If you're a trader, though, check out Bybit, make a deposit up to $30,000 as a deposit bonus. Link in description for that. If you can't trade on Bybit, check out Apex, which is Bybit's on-chain trading exchange, and some other exchanges. I'll leave links and tutorials down in the description for you. I'm James, it's MoneyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.